What if I told you that refinancing your student loans doesn't have to be a one and done decision? Today, we're diving into the multiple refinance student loan strategy, a strategy that can save you thousands in interest while keeping your financial flexibility. If you are a physician, a dentist, or other high-income professional with big student loans, then this episode is for you. Now, you might be asking yourself, why refinance in the first place? Federal student loan rates can creep up to 7 to 9%, and refinancing can cut the rate significantly, sometimes into the 3 to 5% range. It was a different economic climate back in 2016, but when I refinanced my student loans, I took them from a 6.8% interest rate to a 3.25% interest rate. And that saved me a significant amount of interest over time, allowing me to aggressively pay down my debt. But refinancing is not a strategy for everyone. So you want to really understand some of the nuances of this strategy. One of the things that I also love about this multiple refinance strategy is that many lenders can even offer cashback bonuses when you refinance. Now, don't allow the cashback bonuses to lead you. Don't put the cart before the horse, but this is an incentive that can help you to earn more money and use that money to fund your debt payoff. But here's the catch. When you refinance, you lose federal protections like income-driven repayment options, public service loan forgiveness, and extended forbearance options. So refinancing makes sense if you won't qualify for forgiveness like PSLF. Your debt-to-income ratio is about 1.5 or less, and you're paying to pay loans off aggressively. Most borrowers only refinance once and stop. I mean, that's what I did. In fact, a survey shows that 87% of borrowers refinance only one time. But you don't have to stop there. Think of refinancing your student loans just like refinancing a house. I purchased the home, I refinanced the home, and when interest rates drop, I'm going to refinance our home again. There is no limitations to how often you can refinance your student loans. Now, one caveat here is that sometimes it doesn't make sense because you restart that clock. And the clock that I am talking about is the amortization clock. You know, when you first take out an installment loan and you start to pay that loan back, those payments go towards the interest first to pay off or down the interest, and the remaining goes towards the principal. Now, if you're wondering, okay, how does interest, principal, how does this all work? Then you can watch this student loan video here where I talk about how federal student loan interest is accrued. Federal student loan interest is different from private student loan interest, which functions more like a credit card. But still, the point remains that when you start paying again, the amortization calculator applies most of those beginning payments towards the interest and not towards the principal. This is one of the caveats when you're thinking about refinancing your home, refinancing your student loans, is sometimes you reset that clock and it just doesn't make sense. However, this strategy could really work for someone who's trying to pay off their student loans and live their life. So let me tell you about how this multiple refinancing strategy works. The first step is you're going to start with a long-term loan, okay? So this is like your 15 to 20-year loan when you refinance. And the reason for doing this, for selecting a longer term, is that when you are able to push those payments out over years, and in this case, decades, you have lowered required payments. That allows you flexibility, but sometimes it leads you to even higher interest. So when you are working this strategy and taking advantage of the long-term payments give you a lowered required payment, but the goal is still to pay it off aggressively. So you want to make extra payments. Once you get settled in, you're identifying your cash flow, then you want to pay more than what is required, because now you're going to lower that amount substantially more, and that reduces your debt to income ratio, allowing for you to qualify for even better rates. So now you're refinancing again for a shorter term, maybe a 7-year term. Because you've been making extra payments, what this allows you to do is keep paying that same amount if you can't pay more, but then it helps you to reduce the interest because you're able to qualify for a better loan. And by that time, maybe when you were in that longer term period, maybe you wanted to have a child, maybe you wanted to purchase your first home, whatever it is that allowed you to do your life thing and your loan thing together. And now you've worked through that. Now you figure that out. This allows for you to take advantage of maybe a little bit higher payment and the interest rate. Each step lowers your rate and keeps cash flowing to the principal. And it's not just about one big move, it's a series of smarter moves. And as your balance shrinks, lenders see you as a lower risk. Smaller balance plus a shorter term equals better rates. Each refinance can shave 0.25 to 1% off of your rate. And over 5 to 10 years, that can save you tens of thousands of dollars. And by this time, as I said, that shorter term loan becomes more affordable later. Now, I mentioned this in the beginning, and again, I don't want you to get too excited that you're just refinancing and using this strategy for the cashback bonuses, but many lenders offer $500 to $1,000 in bonuses for refinancing. So if you do multiple refinancing and you get multiple bonuses, say you do it 3 times, that is $3,000 of free money added to your payoff. And just like refinancing your home, rates can change within the market. New lenders might enter all the time with special offers for physicians, dentists, or high-income professionals. Each refinance lets you take advantage of those changes. All right, so let me walk you through an example here because we like numbers on this channel, right? Let's say that you start with a loan balance of $265,000 and you refinance for a 20-year fixed at 5.5%. That means it's going to give you a required payment of about $1,800 a month. And you leverage this lower payment to qualify for your first home loan, to maybe have your children, buy a new car, whatever it is that you desire, start your own private practice. After you do those things, right? After you qualify for the other loans, then you take a look at your finances. You figure out what your cash flow allows, and you decide that you can pay $5,000 a month. Now, after 2 years of overpayments, you are now dropping that balance to about $175,000. So step 2 would be to refinance again. Now you're going to refinance for a 10-year fix at a 4.5% interest rate, and your new required payment is $1,700 a month. But instead of lowering your payment, you keep paying the $5,000 a month, so your balance shrinks faster. And then after another 2 years or so, your balance is down and you refinance again, maybe for a 5-year variable rate with a 2.5 or 3% interest. And you pay that off aggressively, and now the debt is gone. So you see how leveraging longer terms and refinancing for shorter terms allows some life flexibility for you to do the things that you want to do while leveraging that lower payment, but still being aggressive and submitting overpayments to shrink the balance, refinance again, get a better rate, and basically just keep the machine going. Some people might ask, well, why not just do the 5-year from the start? That's what I did. I refinanced my student loans, $135,000 in a 5-year fixed at a 3.5% interest, but then I set it on automatic and they gave me the 0.25% reduction. And so I got it down to 3.25% and I paid it off aggressively. I paid it off in 2 years and 9 months because I was making those extra payments. But when I refinanced my student loans, my payments went to $2,500 a month. Now that was a required payment of $2,500 a month. But let's say that I didn't have that amount. Let's say that I wanted to have my children earlier, or we wanted to save for a home. Refinancing in a longer term would have allowed me a little bit more flexibility to do the other things that I wanted to do. So jumping into a 5-year refinance right away, depending on how much debt you have and the interest rates, could mean that you have a $5,000 to $7,000 per month required payment. Now that could block you from pursuing your dreams, from buying a home, starting a practice, and handling emergencies. So this multiple refinance strategy protects your cash flow. The smaller required payments give you room to make big optional. And let's underline the word optional payments. There's one thing that I forgot to mention is that you can go from a shorter term back to a longer term. So let's say, for example, you start out your life and you're like, you know what? I just want to be a renter for the rest of my life, where there's nothing wrong with that. It allows a lot of flexibility and predictability in some regards as well. And you decide, I'm ready to settle down now. I want to purchase a home. So I actually want to refinance back to a longer term to lower my payments. You can go back and forth from a shorter term to a longer term. So refinancing can be really flexible and help you to create the life that you desire at the stage that you're at. So let's attack some of these common myths about refinancing. The first one is that you can only refinance once. Although that's what the majority does, you can refinance as many times as you want. Now, I also want to acknowledge that when you do this, there will be a hard inquiry on your credit report, and it may temporarily drop your credit score. But if you're doing all the other things that you need to do to make on-time payments, to maintain your debt to income ratio, keeping that credit utilization percentage down to 30% or less, this should not be a major factor in your credit score. Now, let's talk about myth number 2, and that is it's not worth it unless the rate drops by 2+%. That is absolutely false. Okay. I just refinanced our home loan and we went from a 7.125 to a 6.5%. And it makes a substantial difference in the amount that we are required to pay each month. It also really decreases that interest to principal ratio, because the lower the interest rate, the less interest that accrues over time and the more of your money that goes to paying down that principal loan. And myth number 3 is refinancing locks you in forever. We talked about it. This is false. Most lenders let you refinance again, or sometimes they might allow you to pause payments temporarily. But again, this is one of the things that you really want to understand, because refinancing is not for everyone. And there is an appropriate time to refinance. During residency or fellowship, my advice would be to maintain your federal loans as long as you have them. And I also want you to remember that with the RAP plan, there is some subsidy for the interest. So if you have a 6.8% loan, it's not always a 6.8% if Uncle Sam is covering half of the interest while you're in training. So your real rate might be closer to 3.5%. And that is why timing matters. Do the calculations. And if you have any questions about what you should do, again, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only, but I am here to help. So leave your questions in the comments and I will get back to you. And if you have any questions about all the chaos that's going on with student loans right now, especially federal student loans, you can watch this video right here where I break it all down with the deadlines, what you need to know, and a few things to consider. Now, when you refinance too early, you might lose the benefit of PSLF. You might immediately lose one of the biggest protections and safety nets, which are income-driven repayment options. So you want to ensure that the timing is right. And during your training years is probably not the right time unless you have private student loans. Now, during your attending years, this is the right time. This is when I refinance my student loans. And that's because you have a higher income. Now your debt to income ratio has shifted and you can pay off the debt aggressively. And if you are someone who is not going for PSLF, then what's the point? You basically just take a lot of the risk off of the table. Now, to refinance, there is going to be some numbers, some checks that will be involved. The first is a credit check. They're going to look at your credit score, and you want to have a better credit score to get a better rate. My recommendation would be 740 or higher. And if you want some tips on how I maintain my 800 plus credit score, you can watch this video here. Now, they also want a stable income and employment. So this includes pay stubs or signed contract. All right. Next, the debt to income ratio. So they're typically looking for a debt to income ratio that is 1.5 or less. Ideally, I would say 1 or less. For me, when I refinanced my student loans, my debt to income ratio was 0.75. So that gave me enough wiggle room to make my payments, make extra payments and still enjoy my life. If you're trying to use this multiple refinance strategy where you're paying your debt off more aggressively than the term that you sign up for, you definitely want to make sure that your debt to income ratio is on the lower end. And you may also require a cosigner. When we refinanced my husband's loan, it required a cosigner because he was still a fellow and he didn't make as much money as you make as an attending. So your spouse or your parent may have to help you in those beginning months with that initial refinance if you do this during your training years. And lastly, I just want to drive home this point on when to not refinance. If you're on track for PSLF or other forgiveness and you feel good about your plan, then you should stick with it. If you're still in training and you're relying on income-driven repayment options, you definitely should stay there. If job security is a little shaky and you may need the federal safety nets, then you don't want to refinance. Now, if you have private loans, then you might want to refinance earlier. If you want a bonus link for refinancing with a few companies, then check out the links below because I refinanced my student loans with SoFi. We've also gone with Laurel Road and we've also gone with First Republic Bank. Now, there is one that I liked a little bit more than the others, but I'm going to keep that a secret. Unless you want to know, then put it in the comments and I will give you what I think about some of these companies. All right. Well, let me know what you think about this multiple refinancing strategy. You know, when I first heard of this, I was like, that is very interesting and something that, of course, I'm doing right now with my home. So why not do it with your student loans? And remember, money is the tool to help us to build the financial freedom, flexibility, and security that we all need. So let me know in the comments, is this something that you've heard about before, something that you're interested in and want to know more about? I'm happy to give more examples and to help you along your journey. And until next time, stay wealthy, people. Bye-bye.